Hello everyone, this is Zach Klein. It is Saturday the 27th of April 2019 and I am doing a brief recording to demonstrate MekHQ and some of the issues I have with it, accessibility wise. This is going to be done on Windows using Java 8 because I've had um, larger issues with the Mac at this point which make using it kind of impractical, mostly because certain controls such as the tree views used to display unit organization and such are not exposed properly to the Mac accessibility system. This is not anything, as far as I know, that the developers of MekHQ can do anything about. It's strictly on Oracle and or Apple to fix, so I'm going to definitely be reporting those bugs to them. But for now, this is the Windows interface, and these are a few issues that are kind of low-hanging fruit. So let's start. I'm on the briefing room tab. I am running a mercenary unit called Kaplan's Cannon Fodder, consisting of a lance of 1 heavy and 3 light mechs. If I had this to do over again, I would probably include at least 1 medium in there. I've got a Warhammer, a Wasp, a Locust, and 1 further unit that escapes me at the moment, but I can always look it up. Anyway, I'm on the briefing room tab because I have a battle today. Let me at least show you real quick some of the issues here. I'm using the program called Non-Visual Desktop Access, aka NVDA, to explore the screen. And basically, I don't know what this does visually. It may or may not move the mouse around to show you what I'm talking about. I hope it does, but if not, I can always have it root the mouse manually. So I'm going to go to into the briefing room tab and show you a few problems. These are kind of consistent throughout the interface. So let's briefing room. Okay, briefing room tab. Oh, for the love of God, these contract names. I'm working an extraction raid against the Federated Sons, or not against the Federated Sons, excuse me, against the Capellan Confederation, with the Federated Sons being the allies here. I'm just using what's called NVDA's object navigation commands to explore the window. Basically, they move through the controls 1 element at a time. It's sort of equivalent to pressing tab, but a little more reliable because you can sometimes get a sense of, okay, this is the hierarchy of things, versus tab just kind of moves you through flatly, as it were. So I appreciate that it reads the tooltips, which is super helpful. I don't need to do that. Come on. Wait, where was I? Okay, so I can, in fact, read the contract information, which is helpful. I'm not sure if these edit boxes are meant to be read-only, or if they're actually meant to be changeable by the user. I'm not going to try changing them just because. If they are meant to be read-only, maybe there's a property that can be set on them to so inform us, because at the moment NVDA just says that they're editable, and that's kind of misleading if they aren't. Anyway, this is an issue. Okay, this first table. I have an extraction raid on it. I am presumably the attacker. Or wait, yeah, it looks like I am the attacker. The scenario is pending. Date is the 18th of February, 3025, which is correct. And I have 4 units individually deployed to it. But the only reason I know that these are, in fact, what they're talking about is that I can use the navigation to find the headers, which are immediately, for some reason, in NVDA's estimation anyway, to the right of the table, or below it, I don't know.
Scenario name. Resolution. Text. Number units. Task game button. Task game. Number units.
So scenario name, resolution, date, and number of units. I know these are meant to be the headers for the table. There has got to be a way to make the table headers associated with their cells. In a web accessibility context, I could use table header commands or row and column scope commands or any number of ways to do this. I don't know what the proper Java API method of doing this is, but I suspect that it's a pretty simple fix. I also suspect that the Java table model might be better off if the headers were part of the table. I don't know. I mean, it's a little bizarre. Fortunately, this is a small table, and it's relatively simple. I run into larger problems in farther tables, as you will see.
Task game button. Join game button. Join the game in progress. This will only add your units if they are not already in the game. Load change game button. Print sheets button. Export NUL button. Resolve manually button. Clear units button. Deployment requirements panel.
Okay, deployment requirements. This is it.
Contract. Total. Height. Defend. Count. Training. Table. SW 3 and 1. 1. No next. Table. No next.
This is the annoying thing. Okay.
Training. Catlins cannon fodder mercenary. SW 3 and 1. 1. System. No previous renew mode. 3. No object. 1. 1. Left system menu.
Whoops.
Unknown.
Because NVDA,
Restore close maximize unavailable X
for
unknown.
some reason, doesn't always like to let me move the mouse to
Breathe in room.
explore
No object. Combo.
these tables. But the problem is that basically the contract requirements table is confusing because cells that are not being used are empty, and
Current mission. Current mission. Left click.
that's fine, but
Combo of SW. Left list SW object renew. Edit. 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 Veterans. Edit. Edit. Edit.
I'm just going to go ahead and use tab to explain what I'm talking about.
Edit. 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 Task join game button. Load take print.
For the record, when you get into these tables using the keyboard, the only way to get out of them is to use Control Tab for reasons. They seem to hijack tab for cell-by-cell navigation, which is fine, but unexpected.
Export NUL. Clear units button. Extraction attacker panel. Preview.
Okay.
Preview. 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 Checkbox not checked. Checkbox not checked.
Now, here's the thing. I'm just tabbing through to try and get past all these.
Checkbox. Checkbox not checked. Checkbox not checked. One remote with edit. Each civilian unit after edit blank. After action report. Deployment requirements panel. Table.
Okay, here we are.
SW 3 AX 7300 and 2501 selected row 1 contract column 1. 1. 1. No next. 1. No previous. 1. 1.
Now, the confusing thing is that I know for a fact that there are that I've met all the deployment requirements in here. But the only way I know that is because I was able to kind of just guess a bit and get the, you haven't met your deployment requirements warning. Because the cells here don't really seem to line up in the way that I would expect. I would expect the table.
Table. No next. Training. Table. Count. Defend. Height. Total.
I would expect like
Contract. Total. Height.
at least 4 or 5 columns here, but I'm not seeing them. I'm seeing what looks like 2.
Defend. Count. Training. Table. SW 1. 1. No next.
One total, but one total, one lance, or one total, one lance meeting some requirement, but I can't tell if it's the fighting requirement or the training requirement or what. I believe it's the defending requirement, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't remember. Anyway,
Table.
just
No next.
low-hanging fruit, like I said, relatively speaking.
Deploy. Maximum deploy units 3. Current assignments panel.
Oh, current assignments. Let me take a look.
No objects in WT. Mission. Row.
Same thing here. The table headers are not properly connected with their cell.
Table. First time Catlin M. First time M. SW 3 and 7 count.
Oh, it's a scout requirement. That's what it is.
No next. Table. Current assignment. No next.
But I would not have known that because the anyway. Anyway, let's go back. And let me check out. I'm going to just explore these. These 4 tree views are kind of nice because they organize units into nice little categories depending on unit allegiance, I suppose. I wish that they were accessible on the Mac because, on the whole, the experience is, I don't know. I'm just a daily Mac user by inclination. But anyway, let me just go in here.
Level 3 left Robert Catlin 2 3 Warhammer WAM6 are selected 1 on 4.
Warhammer,
Recruit page with /com 6/7 Locust LCT1 be selected
Locust,
2
Javelin, and Wasp. Right, that's what I was missing.
Level 1 3 U pending. Extraction attack. Clear units certain clear all assigned breathing room 2 and decam.
I'll go back in here and demonstrate. I should have said earlier that this is with the current latest snapshot review, or this is with the current, I guess, master of MekHQ, cloned from the GitHub as of a couple of days ago. I have not added any patches or done anything beyond integrating my accessible version of MegaMek. I hope that the accessibility code will get patched in at some point soon, and I can avoid having to futz with that. Anyway, let's go back to the personnel tab, or personnel section, and I'll show you a few more problems.
Breathing interstellar map tab. Personnel left click. Personnel tab control. Personnel tab selected. Combo box active. Personnel collapsed. Combo box general collapsed. Group R unit checkbox not table. Lieutenant SU. Robert Catlin. Veteran. Table. Rank. Table. Lieutenant SU. Robert Veteran. Metro Reader. Warhammer WAM6 R. First times. Extraction attacker. 0. 2,880. 0. Total. Jason Jones. Regular. Metro Reader. Table. Rank. Name. Skill level. Role.
Okay, rank, name, skill level, role. Unit assignment. Force.
Gifts. Salary.
Salary.
SP. Lieutenant SU Robert Catlin panel. Personnel on panel. Edit blank. No next. Personnel left. Salary. Gift. Dip. You. Role. Skill. Name. Rank.
Same problem, but anyway, let me go ahead and try editing this guy.
Lieutenant Robert Catlin. System. Lieutenant SU Robert Catlin panel. Button. New medical details. Personnel on panel. Table. Lieutenant. Table.
Come on. Part of the problem is that I know for a fact I'm in the table, but it's hard to tell where I am because keyboard navigation seems kind of screwy in here. I know that I'm... It's weird. I've had better luck with the keyboard navigation in some of these for some reason. Come on now.
Right system menu. Close it. Restore. Move on. Maximize available. No previous.
NVDA
Right system menu.
Doesn't always like. Let me see if there's a way to trigger the context menu without.
System menu face.
The problem is that in general, this game is very. This game and MegaMek both are very mouse focused, which is kind of contrary to the way that blind people use computers for the most part. There's stuff in here that is accessible by keyboard shortcut, obviously. In my ideal world, there would be a way to edit personnel details with, Control E or whatever. For all I know, that might exist, and I just haven't found it yet. But for the moment, let's see if I can actually get this.
No next. Object. No previous. Group I. Table. Lieutenant. No object. Robert Catlin. Left click. System menu. Left click. List now. Yes button. Alt plus Y. No button. Yes button. No button. Alt plus.
Wait, no. That's not what I wanted to do.
Catlin. Canon bottom. Catlin. Desktop with unknown. Went on. Studio mode. Catlin. Personnel tab control.
Stuck in the.
Left click. Mail on. Mail personnel to tab. Breathing room tab. Interstellar map. Personnel tab. Left click. Personnel tab control. No read. Combo off. Group table. Lieutenant SU. System.
I don't know why some of these tables behave so horribly with keyboard accessibility. It's strange. Anyway, I accidentally think I just rotated the display horribly because I didn't disable them. Sometimes you can use Control-Alt arrows to navigate table cell by table cell, and that didn't work here, obviously. I've had better. Normally, I would expect, from a keyboard shortcut perspective, Shift F10 to access the context menu, presumably, if I couldn't do, if I couldn't use the I guess it's the right-hand Windows key, or I don't know exactly what it is, but one of those obscure keyboard commands that you don't really use unless you have to. I don't have one on this laptop anyway, so never mind.
Group table. Left click dialog. Yes button alt. No button. Yes button. Do you really want to with MekHQ? No button alt. Kathleen Cannon. Show that Kathleen Cannon of person. Mail on. Current locate. Make person to delete. Read interstellar map. Personnel tab. Personnel tab. Personnel tab. Object renew. No previous with combo box active. Active playlist. Active person. No previous renew mode. Combo box active. Combo group unit checkbox not. Table. Left MekHQ. System.
Why does
No objects inside. Robert Kathleen. Left system sub menu.
NVDA struggles to route my mouse cursor to the
Total personnel on panel. Edit blank. Mail on panel. DM mode toggle advanced DM mail on panel. Personnel on panel table. Total name and panel button new medical details.
Okay. This is a quick thought. Why I'm gonna have to double check this. Maybe the GM mode option needs to be. Okay, GM mode is on now.
GM mode toggle button 1 not rested. Personnel tab control. Combo box group table. Left MekHQ. No objects inside. No previous renew mode. Screen renew blank bottom. No next renew mode. Object renew none bottom none. Robert Kathleen. Left no previous Robert Kathleen. Left system menu. No previous with group table. Left MekHQ. Table. Green. Right click. Change rank menu check. DM mode menu check. Tab. Export personnel. Tab.
Anyway, I was able to click on a person's even if it wasn't the person I wanted to. That's fine. Fortunately, the context menu is generally accessible once you can figure out how to get to it. Anyway, come on. Okay, I'm just using tab to explore now. This is edit person dialog. Now, I know for a fact that all these fields have labels. They're just not associated properly. I know that because I can use NVDA object nav to explore label by label or control by control. And that's... wait, I know that this guy has a gender. I know he's male, but for some reason that option isn't being exposed to NVDA. I don't know if that's the Java accessibility API at fault or what, but anyway. Clearly not, because that one is obviously exposed, so something is off there.
September 2995 button. 29 years old. Toughness. Edit 0. Original unit. Combo box collapsed. Combo box is 1 collapsed. Combo box covered in JVM 10 enter. Founding member checkbox not checked.
Wait.
Founding member. Left click. Founding member checkbox checked.
He is a founding member now.
2 checked. Already edit text slash length blank. Skills tab control. Skills tab selected. Checkbox checked. Piloting slash mesh. Ag plus. Piloting slash mesh. Ag level. Edit 3. Bonus. Edit 0. Checkbox checked. Gunnery slash mesh.
So for the time being, I can just use object nav to explore control by control. But if I use tab,
edit 3, edit 0, checkbox checked, edit 4, edit 0, checkbox not checked, checkbox not checked, checkbox not checked, checkbox not checked, piloting slash default, checkbox not checked.
Right, I can use tab to move control by control, but the skill label is not properly read. I think that one of the recent pull requests was supposed to address this, but I did not yet have that. I don't have that version running on Windows yet, so I can't test that. Anyway, I'm just looking for the end for the OK button. Okay. There we go. Anyway, this is, I guess, a decent place to start. If we can get some better table accessibility and some better label accessibility, we will go a long way towards making this a little more smooth and less confusing. For the time being, I guess I'll sign this off and try the battle again. I got bogged down last time in confusion because I don't have a great way of reading the map, but that's a whole separate issue. Thanks for listening, anybody, and have a good weekend.